Good morning, everybody. Today is June 18th, at 11 a.m., 2025. Thank you all for attending. Could we stand for a pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could just ask you all to stay standing for a second. We've had a couple of terrible things happened in our community. As you know, we had a very serious accident the other night. I want to thank all our first responders for going. But I'd like to get a moment of silence for the young girl who lost her life. She's 19 years old. And it was about 7 other victims as well. So just if we could remember them and pray for them. And also the people from Minnesota, those horrible shootings that took place there, if we could remember them. And lastly is Jack Folks, who many of you probably remember. He passed away last Saturday. He was a longtime member of our community, great man, and we're going to miss him. So I just wanted to just take a moment to remember all those people. Thank you. Thank you very much. If everybody can have a seat. So let's see. Couple of announcements. Tuesday at Main Beach, our music series will start July 1st. Do you want to mention the junior lifeguard?
Oh, yeah. This Saturday, the junior lifeguard program does start up at Main Beach. We have a couple new additions this year. Everyone that signs up will get a special parking pass, which we never did in the past. All junior lifeguard families will get a parking pass to park in the grass lot right near lot 2 for the duration of the junior lifeguard program. We're also extending the season again this year. I think we're adding at least 2 weeks to the end of it, so it goes through the whole summer. It doesn't end, halfway through August. And any questions, please just go up to the beach office. I'll be happy to help you.
Great. All right, next up, we'll do roll call. Here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi.
Here.
Trustee Sandra Melendez has an excused absence. Trustee Carrie Doyle. Here. Trustee Sarah Amadon. Here. Administrator Marcos Valadron.
Here. All right, thank you. First up is Hugh King, our historian. We got a lot of people here to see you today, Hugh.
Yeah, thank you for inviting all these people to hear me speak. I have an hour-and-a-half presentation on the history of the fire department. No, I'm not going to do that. I told the village administrator I'd be leaving after I do this. I'm going to the George Fowler House. The George Fowler House is the connection between the Montauk Indian Nation and the village of East Hampton. George Fowler was a gardener at the Thomas Moran House, and he was also a gardener at Home Sweet Home Museum, all right? So that's why I'm going there, to meet with the supervisor. Also, Deputy Mayor Minardi asked me last meeting, what year was Main Beach Pavilion torn down completely and rebuilt? The answer was in the room. Kenny Cullum knew that. It was 1984. Then Jim Brooks is watching this program, and he comes to Home Sweet Home, and he tells me it's 1984. Then he sends Kenny Westberg Jr. over to Home Sweet Home to tell me that it's 1984, so I'm reporting that it's 1984. Okay, all right. Joseph DeCristofaro was a veteran of both World War II and the Korean War, who at 98 was the longest-serving active member of the East Hampton Fire Department. He was named the East Hampton Fire Department's first honorary chief, joined the department in 1956, not long after building his house on Beulah Lane Extension. He had been a company captain, a fire council member, and was named Firefighter of the Year in 1976, 1999, and 2009, but he did not ascend to the rank of chief because village law at the time required the chief live in the village. Mr. DeCristofaro's house was just outside. It was 800 feet short of the village line. When he was no longer responding to fires in his latest years, he continued to attend all the meetings. That proves, his life proves that you don't have to be chief to make an impact on the fire department, all right? When he was 17, he enlisted in the Navy. He became a gunner in the armed guard, protecting the crew and cargo aboard merchant ships crossing the Atlantic. We carried bombs, food, whatever the whatever to the troops, he told the Star in 2021. He served aboard the Newt Rockne in 1943. These were called Liberty ships, and they were all named after famous people. Of course, Newt Rockne was the great football coach at Notre Dame. He also served aboard the James Ives. I think it may be named after Currier and Ives, the printmakers. Other boats were named the Calvin Coolidge or the Lou Gehrig. After returning to the United States, he sailed out of Texas aboard the Navy ship, the USS Odom, to the Pacific, where he would remain to the end of the war. Back in Bridgehampton, he went to work for the Long Island Railroad. After getting married and starting a family, he was called back to duty in the Korean War, serving on the USS Jarvis. He served for a year before getting a reprieve in consideration of his family situation. Back at home, he built his own house with a good friend and then started his own construction business, which he ran until he became East Hampton Town Building Inspector in 1969. He retired as Chief Building Inspector in 1989, but continued to work part-time as a housing inspector for another 10 years. He joined the fire department's hook and ladder company #1 in 1956 and was its captain or assistant captain for a number of years. A life member and past commander of the Everett Albert Herder, post 550 of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. He was the VFW quartermaster for 30 years. He received numerous medals, including the Asia Pacific Campaign, the European, African, Mid-Eastern Campaign, the American Campaign, the Philippines Liberation, and the French Jubilee of Liberty Medal. And the last thing he did was so great. He lived to be 98. And looking around this room, how many of us are going to make that? I'll see you. Go on.
Thanks, you. We're going to deviate a little bit, Chief. Can I ask Chief Terza and the fire department to step up? And we have a proclamation in Joe's name that we'd like to issue. Do you want to say a few things, Chief?
Well, I have to correct the professor. Where is he? Did he leave already? No, even in his later years, he was active right to the very end.
Okay, I stand corrected.
One fire that I had with Joe down in Landfall, the company captain came to me and said, "We need your help. We got a problem with Joe." And I said, "Oh no." And Joe was pulling a 24-foot ground ladder out of the back of the rig by himself. And at the time, he was almost 97. I can say that now without having to worry about getting in trouble from him. So right to the very end. But thank you, sir. Okay, there's a proclamation. I appreciate the board asking me to do this. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of East Hampton would like to honor and recognize the extraordinary life of Joseph DeCristofaro, 1925 to 2023, whose contributions to his country, love for his community and family will forever be remembered and cherished. And whereas Joe DeCristofaro leaves behind a legacy dedicating his life to service and community, becoming a distinguished veteran of both World War II and the Korean War, enlisting in the Navy at age 17, Joe served as a gunner in the Armed Guard aboard merchant ships during World War II, including missions to Omaha Beach and Normandy, and later serving aboard the USS Jarvis during the Korean War. And whereas a life member and past commander of post number 550 of the Veteran of Foreign Wars, Joe DeCristofaro served as quartermaster for 34 years and was awarded numerous medals, including the Asiatic Pacific Campaign, the European, African, Middle Eastern Campaign, the American Campaign, the Philippine Liberation, and the French Jubilee of Liberty Medal. And whereas after his military service, Joe DeCristofaro worked for the Long Island Railroad, served as East Hampton Town's Chief Building Inspector until his retirement in 1989, and continued part-time as a housing inspector for another decade. And whereas Joe DeCristofaro, at 98 years of age, was the longest-serving active member of the East Hampton Fire Department, who is known for his humility and exemplary actions, having joined Hook and Ladder Company #1 in 1956, serving as assistant captain and captain for 11 years, and numerous terms as a member of the Fire Council, was recognized as Firefighter of the Year in 1976, 1999, and 2009, and was honored as the department's first honorary chief in 2022. Now, therefore, be it resolved
I'll do this.
Honorable-
You want me to do this part?
Yep.
Okay. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Jerry Larson, Mayor of the Village of East Hampton, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and the residents of the Incorporated Village of East Hampton, do hereby proclaim that Beulah Lane Extension shall bear the honorary name Chief Joe DeCristofaro. And it's an honor to be able to do this for the family and for Joe. I mean, Joe is a terrific man. So, but it should be noted that Steve Lynch, since Beulah Lane Extension is only a tiny bit in the village and the rest of it's in the town, but Steve graciously allowed us to do it for the entire street. So thanks to Steve Lynch, who's our town highway superintendent, for granting us permission to do that. So I'd like to invite the family to step up and we'll do some photos with the proclamation.
Company attention. Present arms. Order arms.
You can just fill in here. Okay. Who wants to stand next to me, anyone? Not you. Marcos, could you take a couple so we have, get in tight? Good.
It rolls. But, yeah.
Out of film.
No, it's not. Let me move this. Perfect.
All right. Thank you, everybody. All right. Next up, we're going to go to the Chief of Police for a couple of promotions. Another exciting day. Keep it brief.
Good morning. I have the pleasure today of promoting 2 officers within my department. Police Officer Chris Jack, who's been here since 2004, was hired, is going to be promoted to the rank of a sergeant. And Lieutenant Bartlemy, who's been acting as my executive officer for a number of years now, was hired in 2001. But I'd be remiss if I didn't thank the board again. Every time I'm up here, it's without them that have given me the staffing, whether it's a PO, to make our place what it is now. And it's taken some time, but our department is whole. The positions are filled with this promotion till somebody else leaves. So it's a pleasure and honor to have the support, and I truly appreciate it, along with my men, because it goes a long way and helps with running the department as efficiently as possible. So thank you. So I'd first like to call up Officer Jack. Chris Jack, as I said, was hired in 2004, and a lot of you know he was on the road, but he has been an integral part of the department and the community, doing something a little extraordinary than a lot of us do. He's been assigned to the schools. I mean, I was assigned to the schools for a number of years doing SRO, DARE and SRO, so it has a soft spot in my heart, and Chris has done an exceptional job in the schools, being a liaison with the police department. And it goes a long way with the kids and trust, and a lot of things that go on, negativity towards law enforcement. These officers in the schools, that we have, again, a fantastic relationship with the East Hampton School Board and the superintendent, who funds the majority of the officers that are in the school for the safety and the community outreach that the officers do. Chris Jack has been our longest serving SRO in the school since 2014, and he's done an outstanding job. I get positive feedback from the board and the superintendent and the principals over and over again. So his work, though it may not be what a lot of us think it is in law enforcement, has a vital role in the relationships we have with our children to try to break the bonds and to engage trust. So he's done a wonderful job. He's also been on our ESU team, our emergency service townwide team that's comprised, again, of East Hampton town officers, East Hampton village officers, and Sag Harbor officers. So he's been a vital role. He's a firearms instructor. He's a team leader. So he's done a fantastic job with the ES. And it's a pleasure to finally get to, a lot of people wait. He's been here a long time. A lot of people strive to move up to the next rank, and it's taken a while, and that's just the way sometimes it falls. But it's a pleasure at this point to promote Officer Chris Jack to the rank of Sergeant, number 467. Sure, yeah. And if we can call up our village clerk to swear you.
So you can just raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, Christopher Jack,
I, Christopher Jack,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of sergeant.
the duties of sergeant.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to call up Christopher Bailey, take a nice family photo, his wife Noelle and his children and mother and father. Tim, come on up. I hear you. There you go. Okay, and last but not least, the number 2 position in any department, the executive officer, has a lot that goes on. As I've always said, I'm the front of this and maybe take the brunt of this, the job being in law enforcement, but it's from the ground on up, my police officers who are out there every day doing what they're asked to do from this village board, and my command staff, Lieutenant Brown, Lieutenant Shades, and all our sergeants. They do a fantastic job, and I have an extraordinary hand-picked group of officers, men and women, and I stand up here every time, which makes me look good, makes the village look good, the community, so I'm blessed to have the men and women that I do. And Jack Bartlemy is my number 2 man. He's my confidant. He's my right-hand man for dealing with issues that need to come up. He's always there when I've needed him. He's been hired since 2001. He held a number of tasks. Patrol, he was assigned to crew, assigned to detectives. He was a sergeant in 16, a crew sergeant in 2020, and in 2022, he was promoted to lieutenant. His wife, Maria, is here. His mother and the children are here as well. So I appreciate, again, the support to have my executive officer deserves the rank that he needs. Most departments, the number 2 officer is the rank of captain. I'm glad we have that structure here, and I thank the support of that. So we have to wait on civil service lists, as some of us understand, and luckily and thankfully that list is over, and that both the officers, Chris Jack and Captain Bartlemy, have successfully attained the passing grade. So Captain Jack, or Captain Bartlemy. Captain Jack. That's right. Your photo shoot and bring.
Family wants to. Limited to 4 at a time.
Oh, yeah, giving you that.
Congratulations.
No, you just did it.
If I could call the clerk up to just.
And raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jack Bartlemy,
I, Jack Bartlemy,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New York,
of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of captain.
the duties of captain.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short break to let everybody leave who would like to leave. And just for the record, can we put Lisa Perillo present? Or tardy?
Sorry.
So,
So bad, those are extra bad. Even in front of Village Hall, they're doing some work on the sidewalk and they're stopping everything.
yeah, in the blue. Right, next up is Billy Hayjack. Talk about the Panago Road property appraisal. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mayor Larson, members of the board, Billy Hayjack for the village. So I'm here to discuss with you property that the village currently owns that is on Panago Road. It's on the south side of Panago Road. It's about 400 feet east of the Yardley Funeral Home, almost opposite the old Hildreth site. And it's an undescript property. Most people don't know it's there. And I think probably village staff may have, that come and go, might not even know that we own it at certain points in time. But it was created during the 1967 Egypt Close subdivision. And it was set aside for potential future access that would extend from Egypt Close, the cul-de-sac, to Panago Road. The lots that now are in between this property and Egypt Close, there's about 4 residential lots, or all of them are developed. So there's really no feasible way that the lot could even be used. Even if the village decided that they wanted to connect the 2 roads, it wouldn't be physically possible anymore without either securing easements or purchasing those properties, which is probably out of the question at this point in time. So we commissioned a survey in April to verify the size of the property and the boundaries of it, determine encroachments. Walbridge completed that survey and shows that it's just over 15,000 square feet in size. And it's very unusually shaped. It's very narrow. It's only 33 feet wide at Panago Road, and it's over 400 feet in depth. So even if we actually wanted to create a roadway, I'm not sure, I mean, I guess back in the 60s they weren't thinking about this, but a typical roadway is 50-foot wide right-of-way, so it wouldn't even meet the standards for a roadway for today's standards. It is a flat parcel of land. It's partly cleared because of encroachments from the neighbors. There are no known environmental constraints or sensitivities to the property. Given the fact that it's not physically possible to use it as a roadway, and the village should decide if they want to continue to own it with these encroachments, or there are alternatives, which one could be trying to sell it to a neighbor, as it might be of interest to a neighboring property. So with that in mind, we commissioned an appraisal, and I think the board has a copy of that appraisal. It was completed by Clark and Marshall. It was just received in early June, and Clark and Marshall set forth their standards for how they establish the value of the property, not as a building lot, because it's not technically a buildable lot, but as value in terms of adding it to one of the adjoining properties. And they established the value to be $825,000. Which, again, in the highest and best use would be by a neighboring property, buying it, incorporating it into their lot to give them more room. So that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions for me, I can try to answer them.
Anyone have any questions?
You say there's encroachment, so some of the neighbors have things on this property?
There's a lawn, there's fencing, like some deer fencing, and 2 statues.
That are the neighbors?
They're not the villages, so yeah, I would assume they're the neighbors, yeah.
So we should probably have that discussion.
Yeah, eventually we'll have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Even if the village decides they don't want to, sell the property, we should deal with.
Or if no one wants to buy it.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
Yep.
When you say a lawn, what do you mean? Someone's lawn is?
Yeah, it's lawn, just like sod, turf.
They use as their lawn, the neighbor.
I don't know they're maintaining it as lawn, so I'm assuming it would be used, but I've never witnessed anybody walking on it or anything.
Yeah.
So.
Do we have aerials, or do we have a history of how long the encroachments were there for? For example, if we want to sell this property, maybe some of these neighbors could say it was adverse possession and we couldn't sell it without a long process. Lisa?
So there wouldn't be adverse possession against village-owned property.
Oh, okay. That's easy.
Yeah. All right, good. Anybody have any comments or?
Is there any reason why we'd hold on to it? Is it benefiting the village?
Probably not. But
Or the
we can
residents?
think about it. We don't have to make a decision now. But we could go look at it and see what you think, and we can.
Yeah, you could drive by it, if you blink, you'll miss it.
But no one from the public uses it right now.
No.
There's no.
No.
No, it couldn't be, essentially, it's not generally usable really for anything. I mean, it's only, like I said, it's just about 35 feet wide where it meets Panago Road.
So why don't we all just take a look at it, and we'll put it back on the agenda for next meeting.
Set up some visits for next week?
Yeah, see what you want to do.
Yeah, yep.
Great.
Yeah, if anybody
Thanks,
wants
Bill.
to visit it, I'd be happy to meet you there and show you what's there. Okay,
Thank you.
great, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, next up, public hearing.
Introductory number 8 of 2025, a proposed local law providing for amendment of Chapter 256 of the Village of East Hampton Code to add Article 5 exemption for East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue and Auxiliary Squad.
Anyone like to be heard? Can I get a motion to close?
I make a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing's closed.
Introductory number 15 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 121, Design and Site Plan Review, Section 121.5E.
Anyone like to be heard? All right, we're going to keep that open for another month.
Introductory number 18 of 2025, this item is being tabled.
Okay.
Proposed fiscal year 2026 budget.
Anyone like to be heard on the budget? Make a motion?
I make a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
All in favor? Hearing's closed. That concludes the public hearings. Any public comment? Yes, Mr. Gantz.
Good morning.
Morning.
Security already acknowledged me as Mr. Gans. First name's David. Interested. I just have 2 points to make. I noticed the proposed rules for the beach, and I just have some questions in terms of defining what does strictly enforced means. How are we going to enforce 5 miles per hour? Will there be a speed camera there? Are we relying on the attendants, the attendants who work there to evaluate whether they're going 5 miles per hour? I'm just curious, because it's just strictly, so it's going to be signs for it.
We have attendants there. We also have cameras to prevent people driving in there like crazy people, which we want to avoid.
I heard about that.
Yeah, it's happened. So that's what we're trying to avoid, any accidents there. There's a lot of kids and walkers and handicapped people. So we're trying to make sure that the beach parking lot is as safe as possible.
All right, will the license plates be recorded, and if find that someone is driving recklessly, they would get a follow-up ticket?
Hasn't been decided yet.
Oh.
Again, remember, this is public comment, not public answer.
No, well, commenting, okay? Also, you say no animals are allowed. I assume service animals are allowed, correct? Oh, well, you don't have to comment. I'm just saying legally it has to be service comments, because obviously many of them may want to use the person with a disability bathroom that are in there. So just keep that in mind. In terms of no amplified music, it's amplified noise and music. Could I blare NPR news? Just a comment. And the other thing, which I think is important, is we passed, or the board passed, strict regulations in terms of noise for landscape equipment. I walked around, none of the smaller landscapers need to be, are aware of this. Moreover, I don't think that the public even knows. So I would suggest a public notice, an ad-like public notice, an East Hampton Star, even more importantly, a direct mail piece to all village residents, explaining to them, because it's the onus is on them to help enforce this. And now you have people going around giving $250 tickets, and half of them don't even know why they're getting it. So I think people should be aware. Then you can perhaps have a probationary period, and then give out as many tickets as you'd like. Those are my 2 comments.
We do have plans to send out to the
Right.
public information about this, and plus it's been posted on our Instagram and social media.
Yeah, but how many people read the Instagram?
Well, actually quite a lot. We had a lot of likes to the,
I think we also contacted over 1,800 of the service providers, and some of them just don't want to register. So
Well,
it's up to them.
I would also consider sending them out in Spanish as well.
we do.
Yeah, we
have
did.
it. Yeah, it's in Spanish on Instagram as well.
Well, thank you for your comments, though. Your time's up.
Social media. Someone should get it in the mail saying, here's.
We are talking about that.
No, 1,800 landscapers have been contacted that work for the town of East Hampton. They've been contacted several times in English and in Spanish. And very few of them have come back until, of course, they get tickets when they realize that they can't, that
We
they're
also did a
violation.
whole month of warning tickets on landscapers' vehicles, all of April. Everybody who was working out on the streets were getting warnings. So I think everyone's pretty well, we're getting a lot of compliance now, so.
Police
Well,
were
that's good.
willing.
But the other thing, I caution you on, there may be landscapers who work in the village, but not the town. That's all. I mean, how updated is that list? Those are my comments.
As of 2024,
Thank you.
so.
Excuse me, I don't know if this is the proper procedure. May I follow up? That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Good morning. Thank you for hearing me. I'm an attorney in East Hampton, and I was in court the other day.
Can you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry.
For the record.
Susan Manu. I live in Springs. And I was in court the other day, as I am almost every week, and I noticed and heard, because I spoke to the court officer, that there were a number of people there, and Brian Lester was hearing the cases, and there were a number of people there who had gotten a $300 ticket for violating these regulations that I, as an attorney, not that you are required to notify me, but I had no knowledge of. Now, I'm completely in support of any kind of a regulation that is passed that limits the noise or limits the time frame that is in the middle of the night or early Sunday morning. However, I did some inquiries from your office. I went to your office. And again, I asked, well, how are people notified about this regulation, this is the regulations? And they said Instagram. Now, I am ashamed to admit that I love Instagram. I'm on Instagram morning and night. I never saw an announcement regarding this because, of course, in my work, I would have needed it. Then I did some further inquiries and spoke to some local people that we would all know if I mentioned their names, who have been here their whole life, and they're doing landscaping work. One of them got a ticket for $300, and he went to court, and he spoke to Brian Lester, and he then paid his $300. The reason he gave me of paying it without fighting it was because he was afraid if he had fought it, he would be targeted. Where have we heard that before? We hear that every day now in this town of people that are frightened to death about police officers approaching them for any reason. I did speak to someone who was washing a window on a shop on Newtown Lane, a Spanish speaker. The police officer came up to him and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm friends with the family who own this shop, and I am washing this window for them." And the police officer said, "Well, are you getting paid?" I love our Latino population, but they're here to work for the whole town, to work for all of us, and to make money. So that kind of a question was, I understand why he asked it. So my question...
I can't even imagine one of our police officers asking that question.
You can't imagine? Well, I'll bring the person in. And
I think that's, what do they call that, hearsay?
Hearsay. It is hearsay. And are we on trial now? Oh my God, do I have to stop? You want to hear more?
Thank you for coming.
No, you do want to hear more. So I'll be brief. So my question to you is, as an attorney, I know what the laws are, speeding, I know what the laws are, I can't beat any of you up, which I would never do. But if you don't know what the law is, and this gentleman raised it before me, do you all not think that you go up to that window washer, let's say he's a figment of my imagination, and you say, gee, you need to have a permit to do this. The permit, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, requires someone to go online for 10 hours to take a little series of, is that not true? They don't.
No, we don't require that in the bill. All we're asking for is a registration of their business with us. So so that we can give them the noise rules so that.
Of course.
To try to make the quality of life of the residents better.
Completely.
So the more people that know the rules, the less violations we have.
Exactly right.
So
how are they to know the rules? So they don't know the rules, obviously, because if longtime local residents who are doing landscaping 30 years don't know the rules, many of our local residents who are here recently certainly don't know the rules. For them to receive a $300 ticket is onerous. Let me tell you, you know how much money I make as a lawyer, like rich, I'm rich. If I had to pay $300 for a ticket, I'd have a heart attack. But that's wrong. So the question that I have is, why aren't these people being given a warning? The word would go out. Instagram is not the way to do it. Sending your notice to 1,800 big shot landscaping companies does not reach down to the local guys that are mowing the lawns, washing the windows, doing whatever other stuff requires a permit. So you want your permit? I support that. This is unfair. As a lawyer, I'm ashamed to admit, and possibly your attorney can answer the question, is this sufficient notice? And should we now go to the court, get the names of all of those people who have paid that $300 fine with no notice, saying they didn't even know about this, and I, as an attorney, didn't know about it, and I'm there every week, should those $300 fines that they've already paid, because they're frightened and because they obey the law, should those be refunded? Thank you. I appreciate the courtesy of you hearing me.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard before we move on to the resolutions? All right.
Resolution number 215 of 2025, approve claim vouchers for the month of June.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 216 of 2025, approve warrants as listed. Number 45, guarantees. Number 46 and 47, general fund. Number 48, general fund warrant. And number 49, capital fund.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 217, approve budget transfer, Schedule 7, reference number 7, dated June 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 218, approve departmental reports.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 219, approve the fiscal year 2026 budget.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 220, resolve the fiscal year 2025 village budget is hereby amended to increase appropriations in the amount of $81,866 for expenditures related to the salt barn and funded by the Capital Reserve Fund as per permissive referendum.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 221, resolve the fiscal year 2025 village budget is hereby amended to increase appropriations from the assigned unappropriated fund balance in the amount of $81,549 for expenditures related to sidewalk repair.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, who seconded that?
Me.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 222, resolve the fiscal year 2025 village budget is hereby amended to increase appropriations from the assigned unappropriated fund balance in the amount of $61,634.43 for expenditures related to the emergency trellis repair.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 223, approve amendment to Main Beach Rules, Chapter 77, Beaches, Attachment 1, as set forth in the Village of East Hampton Beach Rules and Regulations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 224, authorize the payment from the general fund in the amount of $72,049 for the East Hampton Village Ambulance Association Length of Service Awards Program.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Number 225, approve the adjustment to add 2 years of service credit to the East Hampton Fire Department member Christopher Hatch's Length of Service Award Program as per correspondence from Firefly Admin, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 226, approve acceptance into the Home Sweet Home Museum collection the following gifts from Judith Hope: lithograph print, Home of John Howard Payne, Picturesque America, 1872, lithograph print, interior of Payne's Home Sweet Home, and lithograph print, Gristmill at East Hampton, all Picturesque America, 1872.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 227, approve acceptance into the Home Sweet Home Museum collection a blue Staffordshire plate by Rowland at Marcellus depicting Home Sweet Home, John Howard Payne, Main Street, Hook Mill, and Clinton Academy from Marion DeMarco.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 228, approve the $3,202.66 quote from Badge Frame for Mayor's Wall at Village Hall.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 229, approve the $8,957.50 quote from Dama Creative Solutions Incorporated for exterior brushed aluminum signs at the Emergency Services Building.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 230, approve promotion of Lieutenant Jack Bartlemy to the rank of captain at an annual salary of $207,065.96, effective July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 231, approve promotion of Police Officer Christopher Jack to the rank of sergeant at an annual salary of $172,727.69, effective July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 232, approve employment of Manuel Calle as a 2025 seasonal traffic control officer at $21 an hour, effective June 25th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 233, approve employment of Catherine Inga to the full-time position of office assistant, Spanish-speaking, from civil service list effective July 1st, 2025, at an annual salary of $50,000, subject to the completion of a background investigation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 234, approve new fire department member Danny Zelita, Hook and Ladder Company number 1.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 235, approve new members' attendance of the Department of Emergency Medical Service effective retroactively to June 1st, 2025. David Betrago, William McGuire, Giselle Espinal, Catherine Fideli, Leo Schumann, and Christopher Cabrera.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 236, approve employment of Miller Komasinski as beach staff at $16.50 an hour, and Nate Culver as a lifeguard at $20 an hour, effective June 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 237, 2025, accept retirement of John Capazola as Public Safety Dispatcher 1, effective August 1st, 2025, with $26,948.39 payout to be paid from the Employee Benefit Leave Reserve Fund on August 15th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 238, approve enrollment of a village employee to attend the GFOA convention in Washington, D.C. on June 29th through July 2nd of 2025 at a cost of approximately $1,993, plus the cost of reasonable meals and travel expenses.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 239, approve the amendment to resolution number 202 of 2025 to accept the $81,886 low bid received from Bulk Storage Incorporated for the repair and reshingling of the salt barn located at the Department of Public Works per May 20th, 2025 bid results. Expenditures to be paid from the Capital Reserve Fund. This resolution is adopted subject to permissive referendum.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 240, accept sole bid from Class Act Maintenance for the 2025 through 2027 bathroom cleaning contract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Number 241, notice to bidders for seal coat and crack sealing with bid specs available June 18th and bid opening to be July 8th of 2025 at 2 p.m. at Village Hall.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Number 242, notice a public hearing to be held on July 2nd of 2025 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, for introductory number 14 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 278, zoning, Section 278-7, Board of Appeals, variances, special permits, fees, A12345, terms of office.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 243, notice of public hearing to be held on July 2nd, 2025 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, for introductory number 16 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 42, Planning Board, Section 42-1, Planning Board established, membership and terms of office, removal.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 244, notice of public hearing to be held on July 2nd, 2025 at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, for introductory number 19 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 267, Section 267-440, parking prohibited in designated locations, and Section 267-737, parking time limited in designated locations.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 245, approve the notice of the organizational meeting to be held on Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025, and the annual meeting to close the fiscal year on Wednesday, July 30th of 2025, both to be held at 11 a.m. at the Emergency Services Building, 1 Cedar Street, East Hampton, and to adjourn the July 18th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 246, adopt a local law of 2025 for introductory number 8 of 2025, a proposed local law providing for amendment of Chapter 256 of the Village of East Hampton Code to add Article 5 exemption for East Hampton Volunteer Ocean Rescue and Auxiliary Squad.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 247, approve the $4,995 quote from Catalyst for Tax Classic Online status setup.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 248, approve Hook Mill Tour Guides, H.K. Anderson at $20 an hour, Francine Hanford at $18 an hour, and Piper Borsak at $12 an hour to work during the summer months, July 1st to September 30th, 2025, effective July 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Number 249, approve the request to enter into a paving agreement with PSEG Long Island, receiving payment of $109,000 to $109,203.50 for the restoration by our contractor for work on Appoquog Road.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 250, deem surplus and approve the disposal sale by public auction 1,000 feet of fire supply hose.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Number 251, deem surplus and broken beyond repair and approve the disposal of a Zebra Card ZXP Series 9 ID card printer from the police department.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Number 252, deem surplus of no use and approve the disposal of old carpet from the Department of Public Works office.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Resolution number 253, approve the $51,226 quote from L&B Benia for sidewalk replacement and curb repair to be paid from the assigned unappropriated fund balance.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. And that concludes our regular meeting. We're now going to adjourn and go into executive session, talk about real estate. Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
We are closed. Thank you all for coming.